Joining us now with his insight on the past week in politics is North Central College political science professor Stephen Caliendo. Hello to you.
It's great to see you both. Thanks for having me.
Okay, let's start on the national stage and talk about former President Trump and his indictment, new charges being added. So talk about how that would change this case.
It was a weird week in this respect, right? Because we were kind of braced for the special, the prosecutors coming through with an indictment from the grand jury on the other aspect of the federal investigation, which of course is the January 6th and the election overturning. But what we got here was more information about the Mar-a-Lago case, the Mar-a-Lago documents case, another person indicted along with the former president. And some information about that particular document that we learned about after the last indictment came through, the initial indictment came through from the video, from the audio recording that we had, where he was showing somebody something about Iran. And so that document was made available. We learned a little bit more about that, but that wasn't what we thought we were going to hear about former President Trump this week.
Professor, earlier this day, well, I guess it was a couple of days ago, Senator Mitch McConnell froze for about 23 seconds or so when he was at the podium. Dianne Feinstein having some problems with when she tried to vote. Should we be concerned? Should constituents be concerned about this? Is it rude to ask them to step down? Or what situation are we with this right now?
Well, Micah, the older I get, the less I think it's rude, or the more I think it's rude, the less I would be worried. I have more empathy than I used to have for these sorts of situations. And really, though, I have to tell you that the question's a good one because it is about politics as much as anything else. You know, we talked about one Republican and one Democrat, both U.S. senators who had some clearly visible health trouble this week. With the Senate so carefully divided, so cleanly broken between the Republicans and the Democrats, in such a thin margin, it's very difficult, I think, for even somebody in a state where they know the replacement would be somebody of their own party to step down. The other thing is, look, you know, some of us are happy that we have jobs that we can leave alone when we go home and on the weekends. Other folks, you know, it's really a calling, and we're talking about two people here who have done this for a very, very long time. So I'm certain there's some existential element to this for both of them.
A lot of people watching it. Okay, let's talk about another case, and this is what's going on at the Texas-Mexico border. Another showdown there where buoys were installed by the state of Texas, and now it's leading a lot of people to question whether they should have done that, and will this head to court? Do you expect that to happen?
I do. It's going to have to at this point. I mean, there was, you know, this is a textbook sort of states' rights versus the federal government, a federalism question. Who has the right to secure these borders and who has the right to protect them, et cetera. Texas is going to argue that the federal government hadn't been doing its job and that Texas is disproportionately harmed as a result of that. And so they took particular action. The federal government told them to stop. And the governor of Texas said, we're not going to remove that. And so the only way this will be resolved, if it doesn't come to some understanding behind the scenes, is going to be through court.
What was supposed to be a rubber stamp on a plea deal for Hunter Biden this week kind of backfired on him. Now both sides are going back to the drawing board, given 30 days. Where do we stand here? And
that was a weird day too, right?
That was another weird day, yeah.
Well, we had lots of weird days this week. It was a weird week. You know, we expected things to happen pretty quickly, usually about 25, 30 minutes. The judge would ask both parties about both attorneys, really counsel, about what the terms of the deal are. But the judge really did a great job. She did her job of asking important questions to make sure there was clarity between what was involved in this deal. And what emerged from that discussion, from those questions, was there wasn't clarity between Hunter Biden's team and the prosecutors here in terms of what it would mean for future investigations or any future charges that Hunter Biden might be brought for him. So it was good that there was clarification, but even after a break and they seemed to come to another debate or another deal, excuse me, the judge said, no, wait, I'm not comfortable yet. I don't know if I'm supposed to be in this position. It ended up being a separation of powers issue about the judiciary and the executive branch. So now we're going to have to wait a month and find out what happens.
And we should also say that's a Trump-appointed judge.
That's correct. It is, yes.
Okay. And as we talk about things getting weird, UFOs was another big topic of discussion. Yeah, right. Another big topic of discussion this week, where they, they had a complete hearing on this to talk about what was found, what has been found, what was spotted. People obviously taking it very seriously. What comes next? What's sort of the outcome for this? What are we expecting to get out of it?
This is the Art Bell. Remember, did you stay up late in the middle of the night and listen to Art Bell on the radio talking about all the conspiracy and the UFOs? But here we are in Congress talking about with some whistleblowers and saying things that they knew were happening. The Pentagon is covering up information about these unidentified. They're not called. We don't call them UFOs anymore, right? They're unidentified something or other, right? But we still call them UFOs, right? Because we're Art Bell people. And so the question is, really for me, does it play into a narrative that the American people have bought into, that the government is keeping something from them? Is it just another sort of brick in that wall of asking, do you trust your government? Is your government being clear with you? Are you getting the real story? And so it's not that it's not important to ask these questions and find out what we know, but there seemed to be a lot of theater involved in this particular hearing, which is not unique to this Congress.
Yeah, it's a talker.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Stephen Maynard Caliendo from North Central College. Thank you for joining us. Be safe, be well.
Great to see you both. Have a good weekend.
You too.